such a drag to be here on your own.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Finding Trails, Getting Lost. My name is Shauna Bestock. I'm the producing artistic director of Penguin Productions, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you this evening from wherever you're coming from. Thank you so much for finding your way here and getting lost with us. I'm coming to you from my home in Seattle on the land of the Duwamish people. Land is part of who we are, and we all carry our ancestors with us. My own ancestors were forced out of their homes in Eastern Europe not too many generations ago. And acknowledging this cycle of forced migration, stolen land, and resource appropriation is a step forward on the trail of placing ourselves within history and envisioning a more just future. So wherever you are coming from and whatever land you are on, I welcome you and I invite you on this trail with us tonight. We opted for live streaming to YouTube for accessibility. I hope it worked. I hope you are accessing us. If you appreciate this, if it is easy for you, we'd appreciate it if you let us know. And now would also be a great time to drop us a donation if you have the capacity. That link is in the chat, and we love your support. You know what it takes to keep art and community alive and healthy, and how important they are for all of us. So thank you for that. Speaking of the chat, it's there and we'd love to know you're there. So at any point during this performance tonight, please feel free to chime in with applause and whatever emojis come to mind. Please share with us that you're there. We're imagining you out there, and yeah. Finding Trails is an ongoing series commissioning new works of theater, bringing artists and audience together to ask, as access to the outdoors becomes simultaneously more vital and more threatened, how can we uplift our collective need for public lands and wild spaces? Our stories are so important for that work. And I'm so honored to have so many wonderful storytellers and fabulous artists working on this project. If you're excited by this work and want to know more about our 2021 directions, if you're an artist and want to get involved with future Finding Trails projects, please connect with me. You can reach me at shauna@penguinproductionseattle.org or find Penguin Productions on Instagram or Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. Penguin Productions' mission is creative adventures to fuel the future. We do this through youth productions, youth leadership, and environmental and social justice-oriented multi-generational work. We are very, very proud and honored to have CIS Productions as our co-producers. They're a fabulous organization. We encourage you to check them out. And I also want to thank Praditwani and Parley Productions for nurturing amazing talent and loaning us their artistic leadership for this project as well. The entire show should go about an hour, after which we'll invite all the artists into the Zoom room for a post-play discussion. We invite you to drop your questions in the chat when we get there. Meanwhile, again, drop your virtual applause there. Let us know you're out there. We sure miss seeing your faces in theater seats. And I'm so glad that we have this virtual space that we can share stories in together. Thank you so much for being here, and enjoy the show.
The 17th century, ladies and gentlemen, is about to witness the most groundbreaking invention of its time. Cuculus carolus. Ugh. Who cares about Latin anymore? And this, honorable members of the High Society of Scientific Inventions, is the greatest creation of our century. A box hosting a delicate cuckoo, which will call the passing of time with a sweet whistle of infallible. They'll call me pompous, irrelevant. If our ancestors could travel in time and witness the scientific advances of today, the invention I'm about to unveil to you would astonish them. I mean, you. That doesn't work. You is the honorable members, but if I bring up the ancestors unveiled to you, but then the ancestors would have to be the object too. Learn your grammar, Professor Uhrmacher would say, and he was right. I give up. Care about the delicate song of the birds. It takes time when there's so much death and devastation around us. Yet, ta-da! Four, three, two, one. And what's wrong? Perhaps it's my watch. It's going slightly behind. 3, 2, 1. Go! Always something. Always there's something to make my life difficult. Where is that tiny winder? Always something at the last minute. They won't laugh at me this time. I won't let it happen.
Cuckoo!
My goodness! What are you doing in my shop? Who are you?
Who am I? Your prisoner, dear sir.
Oh, you need to leave right now. I don't know you.
Quiet down, please. May I? I'm clean.
I have work to do. A deadline. I'm calling the guards.
Easy. What guards? In the middle of the forest? No need for all that. Sit down, please. Let's have a talk.
I want to know what you're doing in my shop.
And I want to know what this affair of yours is.
This affair of mine.
This thing, your obsession.
Obsession?
You've dedicated your entire life to coming up with an instrument to track time. And as time has passed, what have you really done? Locked in a shop in the middle of the forest, how are you helping anyone?
We've been asked to shelter in place. I've created the perfect clock.
That's it? In the midst of a plague?
You have no idea. Professor Uhrmacher is turning himself in his grave. This is the greatest invention of the history of clockmaking.
Yeah, no, I heard your little rehearsal.
You did?
What have you really been doing with your time? I mean, people are dying out there. There's nowhere to go, nowhere to be. How is tracking time useful?
Useful? The Cuckoo Clock is one of the most remarkable inventions of our time.
A trapped bird that every 30 minutes gets to celebrate the momentary interruption of its confinement by singing the same song?
The bird gets to leave its cage. The people get to enjoy its song. It's a win-win.
Well, that makes two of us.
Two of us.
That makes two of us, passing our time in the service of tracking the passing of time.
I don't follow. You have to go. I have a deadline.
I always wanted something better for my life.
Oh.
Better and bigger. Instead, I've been trapped and poked at.
Poked at?
Literally, with your tweezers and your clamps and your pliers. Poked at, day in and day out. And today you poked me one time too many.
I don't understand.
Really?
I beg your pardon, but I don't. You must leave.
Cuckoo!
Goodness gracious. You... This...
Yeah.
Please forgive me. I'm sorry, I didn't know. I was focused on my deadline.
I know. And I don't resent you.
You don't?
No, I understand you didn't mean to hurt me.
Oh, well, the exposition of the High Society of Scientific Invention is tomorrow, and...
And you...
I want to win this year. They made fun of me last year because the bird, well, I guess you didn't show.
Sorry about that. I was sick.
Oh, the plague?
Oh, no, just the flu. You know, the avian flu.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Can I at least offer you a bandage for the pokes?
No, I'm all right. That my feathers will keep those covered.
Oh, well, what can I do? Can I offer you a glass of water? Warm milk.
Oh, I don't really do dairy. I'm good.
Oh. So?
Look, I want to be free.
You want what? I'm afraid that's not possible. The exposition is in... That's odd.
What?
The watch. It stopped only 4 minutes ago. Impossible. They've all stopped.
Yep.
But what's wrong? It can be.
I need to go.
Go where?
To see the world.
The world. You'll get lost.
That's the whole idea. Go get lost. Visit a world that's free of plagues, of time, of the tedious, overwhelming tracking of it. I'm going.
In the middle of the night? You can't just go. What about the exposition?
We'll figure something out.
You must sit down. Oh, you can't just decide to go. Well, I guess that's not true. Oh, they don't know how to fly yet. How will they get by? At least there's a full moon. They will find their way. but they'll be cold and exposed to disease. How will they find anything to eat? They didn't bring any money. The exposition. I had a nightmare. It was the worst. Time had stopped and there was this bird. Wait a minute. It wasn't a nightmare. The exposition is indeed tomorrow. How will I know how many hours have passed if time isn't moving? The moon. The moon is at the same place as it was the last time. Nothing is moving. A letter. Dear Master, or should I say Father?
How long has it been since I left home? A minute? A year? 20? An eternity? In whatever time that was, that blink of an eye, I got to see the world. I visited faraway lands and encountered wondrous creatures. At first, I didn't know how to fly, but then someone taught me, and that's when I was truly set free. I journeyed through distant heavens, traveled to remote kingdoms and conquered some, walked the hallways of exquisite palaces and lay with princesses and princes and savored the tastes of forbidden fruits. I became rich and then a beggar. I fought wars and I made peace. I wrote books of 1,000 pages, painted delicate canvases with invisible brushes and braided precious stones into the hair of 100 virgins. In return, they gave me gifts of wisdom. But all good things must come to an end, and I know that time must be found again. I'll be flying back soon, and you'll be ready to present your creation at the Exposition of High Society of Scientific Inventions.
Count on me. Sincerely, with the birds. They'll be back. The bird is coming home. Time to get ready. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Oh, the sweetness of that sound. They must be back already. I'm ready. Are you? members of the audience.
That was The Cuckoo Clock by Julieta Vitullo. Our next play is Ocean by Olivia Sterne.
So this goes here and okay. Okay. Cool. Where's the sweet? The ocean is a mysterious place, dark and dangerous, with an enduring charisma that's entranced poets and scholars, sailors and soldiers, rascals and thieves, brimming with life and bursting with death. We can only attempt to imagine the true scope of the ocean's vastness, for though it covers 70% of our own planet's surface, we humans know less about its inky depths than we do about the surface of Mars. Just imagine what those depths might contain. Batten down the hatches, boys! Get the women and children below decks. Captain! Shut your mouth and get below decks before you're swept overboard faster than you can say John Jack Windershins, Captain! I said get below decks, Captain! There's something in the water, Holy Mother in heaven. There's something in the water. I said get! Holy sweet Jesus. What in high water hell is that? Captain? Captain, I think. Oh, God! Oh, God damn it. Hey.
Andy, darling.
That's me.
You working on your film?
I was, yeah.
Oh, you got a little blue on your face. Hey, did you perchance get my text about seeing Emma later?
Yeah.
So was that cool?
Sure.
Okay, because if it's not, that's fine. I just need to know.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. We'll be masked up, everything outside, all that.
Sure.
Are you doing okay?
Yeah, why?
You just seem a little distant.
You hate Emma.
What?
Don't you? I thought you said.
No, I don't hate Emma.
Really?
No, yeah, maybe you're thinking of someone else. Are you sure you're okay?
I'm tired.
Yeah, me too. Tired and depressed. Do you want anything?
I'm good.
You sure you don't want fries?
Not hungry.
Nice vegan fries.
No thanks.
How's the film coming?
Mm.
Can I help?
What?
With the film?
No. No, I don't think, Wait, actually, yeah. You can be the sailor.
Okay.
I thought it was gonna work to do all the voices myself, but it's just coming out stupid. It is. Don't make that face. It's condescending.
Sorry.
Yeah, so you can be the sailor and I'll be the captain.
Cool. Is there a script?
Yeah, of course there's a script. Let me just Shit, sorry, I didn't expect.
No, it's fine. Do you want help?
No! Sorry. No.
Okay.
There's a system.
Got it.
So all this voiceover is me, and then you come in here, and that's the scene.
Cool. So, should I do like a voice?
A
or-
voice.
Yeah, like Captain or something
Oh.
like that.
No. And you don't need to touch the water or any of this stuff. I'll do it. You just stand here and read the lines. Okay. The ocean is mysterious. It's dark, dangerous, and with an enduring charisma that's entranced poets and scholars, sailors and soldiers, rascals and thieves, brimming with life and bursting with death. We can only attempt to imagine the true scope of the ocean's vastness, for though it covers 70% of our own planet, we shit, I just had it.
Script?
No. It's okay. I got distracted. I'll start over. The ocean is very mysterious. It's dark and dangerous, and it has an enduring charisma that's entranced poets and scholars, sailors and thieves, soldiers and rascals, brimming with life and bursting with death. We can only attempt to imagine the true scope of the ocean's vastness. For though it covers 70% of our own planet's surface, we humans know less about the ocean than we do about the surface of Mars. Just imagine what it might contain. Wait, no!
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh, oops.
I have.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
And
Yeah.
can you maybe like pull back on the voice a little bit?
Oh, okay. So maybe more like Captain.
Not really.
Captain.
No.
Captain.
There's no voice. It's just your regular voice.
Wait, so the sailor sounds like me?
Yes.
An old-timey sailor on board a ship about to get devoured by a sea monster.
That's not what happens.
Sounds just like me, just like I'm talking right now.
No, it's like, okay. Say you're you.
I'm me.
And the situation you're in is you're on a ship and you see something in the water and you're scared.
Right.
But it's not just about the situation you're in. It's like, what's your goal?
To not be eaten?
Yeah, sure. So you're you, but you don't want to be eaten.
Captain!
Oh my God.
What?
Just because you don't want to be eaten doesn't mean all of a sudden you have an Irish accent or
that's
whatever
not
that
an
was.
Irish accent. No, an Irish accent would be more like, "Wish me lucky charms."
Okay, great. So can we do it normal, please?
Really?
Yes.
Because I just thought it would be funnier if
Funnier?
Yeah, if I did kind of like.
You think it's supposed to be funny?
It's not?
Fuck.
I'm sorry.
Damn it.
Oh, shit. I think Ben's gonna be here soon.
Ben's picking you up.
Yeah, we're good. We're like friends now.
I thought you said you were just hanging out with Emma.
Yeah, but Ben's dropping me off.
He lives there. Is he gonna leave?
He has a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, masks in the car, of course. And we can finish this later.
Okay, but what about your McDonald's?
Oh, you can have it.
I don't eat meat.
Right. I guess put it in the fridge and I'll eat it when I get back.
Okay.
Okay, bye. Have fun.
Bye. The ocean is a mysterious place, dark and dangerous, with an enduring charisma that's entranced poets and scholars. Sailors and soldiers, rascals and thieves, brimming with life and bursting with death. We can only attempt to imagine the true scope of the ocean's vastness, for though it covers 70% of our own planet's surface, we humans know less about its inky depths than we do about the surface of Mars. Just imagine what those depths might contain. Batten down the hatches, boys. Get the women and children below decks. Captain, shut your mouth and get below decks before you're swept overboard faster than you can say John Jack Windershins. Captain, I said get below decks. Captain, there's something in the water. Holy Mother in heaven, there's something in the water. I said get below. Holy sweet Jesus, what in high water hell is that? Captain, I think. Oh God. Ah!
La mer qu'on voit danser le long des golfes clairs.
That was Ocean by Olivia Sterne. Our next play is I'm Sorry About the Raw Eggs I Hid in Your Apartment and the Time I Trimmed Your Hair by Anuhea Brown.
I know I stand in line until you think you have the time to spend an evening with me. And if we go someplace to dance, I know that there's a chance you won't be leaving with me. Then afterwards we drop into a quiet little place and have a drink or two. And then I go and spoil it all by saying something stupid like I love you.
I thought people hiked in Seattle. I thought you hiked.
Hiking is not a personality trait, okay? Get over it.
Okay, how far away are we?
We should be here, right?
No, I think it's farther up.
You do.
I mean, that's what I remember.
No, I think you're
You are
wrong.
gonna say I'm wrong.
Well, you're always wrong.
Now I'm always wrong.
I'm just saying this isn't the first time that
Yeah, this isn't the first time that we have gotten.
you've gotten us lost.
Here we go.
I know what I'm talking about, okay? See, the big rock, right?
It has to be farther.
Don't interrupt me.
I'm just saying, I
Are
swear.
you listening to me? Okay, little big rock in between two mountains south of the strip. You see the Luxor, and you should be here.
But I still think it's further up. Come up here with me.
I'm okay.
Come on, it feels good. Come on.
I said I'm okay.
You wanna pee? Because I have to pee.
I really do have to pee. Yeah, but don't look.
Okay, that's super unnecessary.
What are you talking about?
Like I have seen your, you know what, before a lot, many times. It's not new.
Well, that's exactly why I think you should turn around because it isn't new. So turn around.
You are really not trying to see my thing?
No, I'm not trying to see your thing. What?
Then I'm just pointing it out, okay? It would be double standard if, say, hypothetically, you have seen my thing, my anaconda, my thunder from down under. While I peed, I pissed, pissing.
Keep talking. It's great.
Anyways, I'm gonna pee now. So don't look, okay? So I'm glad that you agreed to grab drinks with me tonight.
Coffee.
Right, coffee. Anyways,
Please don't talk to me with your thing out.
right, okay.
So, did you break up with?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it was good until it wasn't.
So did she do it or did you do, or wait, actually you won't tell me. You'll just say it was mutual.
It was mutual.
Right.
I'm serious, it was.
Were you two serious?
Like,
Like, we're getting old, so
did I ask her to marry me?
did you?
No, and I'm still peeing.
Okay.
I mean, should I talk or?
I don't know, should you? Actually, I'm gonna go pee too now.
Classic.
What?
Classic Ria move.
What?
Like a fucking game of cat and mouse. Tom and Jerry bullshit. It's exhausting to repeat. And honestly, we should skip this part and get to the part where we make out by the cave and pretend that this time will be different. And it will be good. It's always good for some time. For some time, It's great. Like when I leave raw eggs around your apartment, or when you end up sleeping on my floor because we talk so much. And other stuff is great too. Sex and stuff. But I leave you, right?
John,
I always leave you. I always do. And you, of course, you always regret that. You are not too keen on leaving part, even though it happens a lot, quite a bit, so much so that you would think that you would get used to it by now, but you never do. And then we get coffee, not drinks. No, that would be wild. For once, if we would have decided that it would be best to numb our pain with liquor rather than going through this again sober.
would you cut it out?
And then we come here to where we went on our first date. When I had that Jeep, one with the almost busted taillight, and I told you, you were gonna be amazing at life. Which is why I think I always somewhat resent that you resent me for leaving you. And we always end up coming here, and I always try to act surprised. And I pee and hide, and you pee, and then you get into how I am the highlight of your life. God. Now you're crying. I hate when you do that. It's okay. Come here. Right, you're peeing. Peeing and crying. I was telling you because I wasn't lying when about thinking you were gonna be amazing at life. And I still think that sometimes. Sometimes I don't, if I'm being honest. But if we do this coffee and hikes in dark, then we'll be doing this wrong forever. So if we do this, it has to be new, completely new. You don't know me, I don't know you, and we'll find that again, I think, right? Can you please just say something?
The cave is gone.
What?
It was plugged up 3 months ago. That's why we can't find it, and that's why we can't see it.
Wow. Wow. It's gone, and you knew.
So, yeah. I just struggle with, I mean, you're right. For once, you're right. Maybe the nature and the world agrees with you too.
Because if it isn't there, the cave doesn't exist.
And why should we?
Ouch. Yeah. No, yeah, it's That's fair.
And also, you're not the highlight of my life. I don't think I've ever said that.
Sure, okay.
If anything, I mean, I'm the highlight of your life.
You are.
You're probably, arguably, my downfall.
Marry me.
What?
I hate you and I love you. And I want to do this right. I want to marry you.
Okay, but the cave.
Fuck the cave. Just tell me right now if you would marry me. We don't have to disappear just because the world tells us we should.
Okay.
I'll take okay for now. For now, okay sounds good.
And spoil it all by saying something stupid like I love you. I love you. I love you.
That was I'm Sorry About the Raw Eggs I Hid in Your Apartment and the Time I Trimmed Your Hair by Autumn Hayden. Our final play is The Map Lies Folded in Your Pants Pocket by Pamela Hobart Carter.
Oh. Am I brave enough? Am I brave enough yet?
By this age, you mean? Or in this moment of yours at the river's edge?
My moment. You're both here. Aren't we all having this moment?
You are, but I believe we too may be reliving it as older versions of you.
Reliving? I've been here before?
You two are older me?
I should recognize you two?
Very funny. We're the same person.
Wait, a person can't stay the same over time. We are each of us a different person. Perhaps the same self, a self in fragments, but from different times.
But you're here with me.
As a fabrication of our young mind, in our young mind.
I conjured you, but you look as if we all three are hesitating on this riverbank.
The river as symbol, or as blue squiggle on vellum.
Look, and I felt the current in my fingers. This appears to be our moment too.
Well, it still might be a symbol.
Really? Because I do remember this moment. If you don't, the memory loss is discouraging. You don't remember this riverbank and the slick boulders and the sound of the water churning by, the indecision whether this was the way across?
Okay, this isn't about clarity of memory. Just because something is a symbol doesn't mean it isn't tangible.
Stop. Maybe having this moment fresh again is useful to help me decide. I'll get a new judgment from a wiser future self.
Future forgetful self. I'm not sure I'd trust that ripe age.
Give it a rest. I never said I forgot. I remember the insecurity, standing on the brink.
So this time-weird conversation, proof I survived to be your age, that I make it across here. Are you really me? Is that why you're here?
Of course, for you. I can't explain this conversation through any logic, but my own experience of time lately has been as if it's bending and folding, and somehow we've only been standing on this boulder for a few seconds.
And even if you conjured us, and if this conversation is part of your imagination, we absolutely are a part of you.
And you're here to show me I make it, that I'm brave enough, that I'll leap.
I would leap.
I would leap.
I don't understand the verb tense. Are you saying now, at my age, I should go? Okay. Oh, I can't. Nothing seems stupider. I'm not jumping. Slippery boulders, crazy current. This doesn't seem like the smart way to get over there. Do I survive because I went another way? Maybe you could cross now to prove the reality of my bravery.
I'll leave now. Sure, just takes attention, but it's not the proof you're asking for. We change.
Okay, wait. I need you here. I need your perspective. Tell me when I become brave. Braver. Brave enough.
We do get so we understand our strength better.
I'm strong. I get picked last in gym.
Horrible thing they do to children. Having them pick teams never should be allowed.
Nobody wants my hand-eye issues. I don't want them.
That hand-eye stuff went poorly with our competitiveness, which we then learned to tamp down. Still here though, but yes, you are strong.
Quit sidetracking. This isn't about PE. Yes, you have some strength. That's not really what you're asking for, is it?
Why can't I move? Am I always this terrified?
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes.
Maybe that's still not the right question.
It's better, and you'll improve at the jumping.
Now that's symbolic.
And the actual. You have good reason to be frozen. The rocks have terrible traction, and the river's ripping by, and its temperature could bring on hypothermia in minutes, and we have a good imagination. Today, you picture yourself swept downstream, the water icy, a floating log knocking your head against a boulder, that kind of thing, but you really must just...
That wouldn't be a bad way to go.
I'm too young.
You're supposed to be encouraging.
I am.
Of course you are.
Encouraging or too young?
The statement works both directions.
Should I jump despite the terror?
You have to.
You have to.
For us. We can't be here unless you do. Suck it up. You know, you feel very precious to yourself. You haven't learned to become more aware of what's around you. You must look closer at the clouds, the bees, the cedars.
What do they have to do with whether or not I can jump to the next slippery boulder?
Being beyond self.
How much I don't matter.
How much all the rest matters, and how you matter in it.
I'm in my head a lot all my life, aren't I?
You are. We are.
But not too much, because you've leapt a lot.
Right? We come to learn the size of the territory.
We were always good at big picture and detail, but not so good now. At how big the territory is. The territory to have a big picture of.
Isn't there a map?
There sort of is a map we draw as we go. It isn't flat.
Well, no, the planet curves.
Every part of it curves, even where it appears to be flat.
I think I grow over fond of symbols when I get older.
You were the one that was symbolically referring to leaps.
Oh, no, that was literal. And if we can have this conversation, can't you hand me over the map you've drawn?
Congratulations. I was waiting for you to ask. I have one here. It's a fairly flat one.
This is a poem.
Yes, paintings, poems, those kinds of things. Those are the maps. No one outside ourselves can make the maps of our thinking. No one outside us can show you where we are.
I'm not a fan of woo-woo stuff.
That's never going to change. We like the concrete. Although next year you're going to start practicing yoga and really.
I mean, crystals, astral signs, burning sage, seeing where we are as in a mental location instead of the actual place where we're standing.
A poem is hardly woo-woo. And what's wrong with a nice hunk of amethyst?
I don't think you are me.
Well, I certainly don't remember being so judgmental.
This isn't productive. She is us, and she has to get across the river, or the worst will. What's the worst that could happen?
Really?
What?
That's all I'm doing, running through the possibilities.
So you haven't figured out the worst yet, because there is only one worst thing.
Duh. It's not hard. Death.
Yes.
We die.
And the best?
The best.
Only one best thing.
Where I get to exist. We three get to exist.
Hand it over. We want what we think impossible. Name it so. Although all days open to us, all hours, all seconds, all fractions of, have we scrounged toward a want this day, or hour, or fraction of, within swirl solutions available always. That's a true word to describe our existence reliant on inside and out. At our desk, we may invent planets and persons. Any one of us might leap, might swing onto that ascending route, moment unhabitual, terrifying. The memorized patterns must be ditched, power handed to the shift, to the locked skeleton. Transform, bones, transform. The brain coaxes muscles to unchain, coaxes a quality of persistent, coaxes of our own strengths we know most and least our abilities strangely infinite. Life grants transcendence when we grab chances.
Sort of an acrostic from that line of Leonard Shaw's. We all have within us at any moment the power to transform the quality of our life. Maybe it is a bit woo-woo.
Leaping. The best thing would be leaping. And I love it when I'm in the middle of the river, an animal on a rock, surrounded by flowing water.
A decision. Well, you too. I think I'll walk downstream a while.
I think I'll stay here.
Well, what do you mean? Are you not here with me in my moment? Aren't you crossing with me?
You're behaving as if time were linear, child.
We can't behave that way these days. Besides, time wraps or warps or whichever with time. So we're all here together, but at our own brinks.
But don't try to touch me. I'll lose my balance.
I won't. Well, me, I'm going for it. I'm so scared.
Rephrase. I am so scared, and I'm going for it.
It's beautiful over there, across the way, isn't it?
I am stepping into beauty.
You are in beauty now.
Rephrase. I am in beauty now, and it's beautiful over there.
You haven't budged.
You want a little shove to get you going? It's this thing can do before I go.
No, thanks. I'm brave enough. I am.
Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. In a few moments, I'm going to invite all the artists to come back into the room with us to take a curtain call and for a brief post-play discussion. If you need to log off and go on with your lives and go find your own trails, I do hope you'll stay in touch with us. Check out our websites, support us at the links on your screen. And thanks so much to our co-producers, Sis Productions and For Culture for all their support. At this time, may I have everyone back in the room for a wild round of virtual applause. And while we're waiting for audience to, I see, oh, there's so many lovely clapping hands in our chat. Thank you so much. That is really meaningful, audience, even though we can't see you. Thank you so much. And if you do have any questions for the artists, please feel free to drop them in the chat. I'd love to just kick this off by putting a question out to all of you wonderful people, and just turn on your mics and go for it. I will moderate if need be. But my first question is, the prompt for writing these plays was getting lost. And as we saw tonight, people took this in such different directions, but I felt like there were two common themes that surprised me. One is time, and the way it is perhaps nonlinear, or the way we move through it together or separate, the way it stops and starts, the way we get lost in it. And the other is this idea of creation or invention that seemed to find its way through many of the plays. And I would just love to hear maybe the playwrights talk a little bit about where their inspiration came from, and for the actors and directors, sort of how what you make of those themes, and why we might be talking about those now when we think about getting lost. Let's just put that out there. Anybody? Yeah, Olivia, just go ahead, dive in. Oh, but we can't hear you. Well, Olivia's figuring out her microphone. Would anyone else like to talk about where those ideas came from, or how they landed on you?
Well, it's certainly really interesting that this theme of time has definitely been coming through these various pieces, and it's something that I think all of us are definitely joking about. It's something that I definitely joke about in every rehearsal I've been in so far, where we all, with all the actors and everyone, we all kind of take a collective laugh of, oh, well, time has no meaning anymore. We're getting to the end of rehearsal. We got through 4 hours, or we got through 3 hours, and how did that pass by? And something's dark out, and suddenly we find ourselves 8 months into this pandemic, and suddenly, oh, what meaning does time have anymore? And I think, definitely as artists, we definitely take what's going on internally, what's storming in ourselves, and putting it into our art. So yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful theme, but in a way, hardly surprising that we see it now.
Mm-hmm. Olivia, did you want to dive in?
Hi, is that working? Is it working now? Sweet. Okay. Yeah, I heard a little bit of what Kiefer was saying, and I'll definitely second it. What's funny is I initially thought that I was going to make the prompt work by having Andy's film be about feral children. It's just like a thing that happens sometimes where kids are like abandoned or they run away or something very young and then are like kind of raised by animals. It's like semi-myth, semi-real. So initially that was the film that Andy was doing, but then through rewrites, it became about the ocean instead. I ended up liking that better because I got to have the funny sailors and stuff. I liked that. But I kept the sort of kernel, which is this idea that like you're trapped inside. And so you sort of develop an obsession with some kind of like vast, mysterious nature thing. And you...
Olivia just...
I like in your art about it. So... Sorry, my internet connection is not that good. But yeah, that was definitely how the prompt like affected me, and why I think that creation theme makes a lot of sense for this, because you're intersecting something a lot of us can't really do right now with like a theme that also, yeah. Sorry, that doesn't make any sense. But yes.
Thank you. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah, Pam.
For me, some of it was about just the way, the nature of theater at this time, how it is that we can have multiple characters there. And I first was thinking of a single character at the river's edge, and I really wanted to include somebody young and somebody older, and then thought, all right, it's the same person. And so the time element came in because of that, because I wanted to have all three characters from those different ages be in some kind of space, whatever it is. Maybe it's headspace, but at the same time. And yes, I've definitely been myself experiencing the sensation of time in a warp. And this particular episode of being on the river's edge and not being able to jump has a little grain of my own life in it from when I was in college, and we were supposed to be jumping, my class and I, from boulder to boulder into the middle of the Susquehanna River, which is big and deep and fast and cold and all of this stuff. And I balked. And I had all these classmates behind me getting more and more unhappy with my balking. And I don't know how long that lasted, my balk, but it was long enough. And it's with me still, that thinking about that moment and how we get through that. And this is like a giant balk that we're all experiencing together. I sometimes feel like we're not only, it's much harder to figure out how we're moving through or on. Anyway, that's where my time space thing came from.
Yeah, Julieta.
Yeah, my answer is it's a little bit of an anecdote. I don't know if I have something really deep to say, but in terms of how the idea came up for me, I had this idea at a very young age about the Cuckoo Clock. I wrote a short story. I was like a preteen, and I was the kind of kid who would like stare at the clock obsessively, and just if I needed to wait an hour to watch a show or something, I would just stare at the clock and wait and see the minutes change. And I had a cuckoo clock at home. And so the idea came up of how boring it must be for the cuckoo inside to just have to wait half hour, at 12 they get to go out, and like bow 12 times. But that was my idea when I was a kid and I wrote that story. And then when this prompt came up, and I tried to write a story related to that. And then when the prompt, came up for this festival, I guess as all of you were in the middle of this pandemic where time had taken such a different form, and it was a little bit like going back and looking at the clock, and just like seeing the hours go by without a lot of difference in the times of the day, because maybe a day would go by without going out at all, especially at the beginning. So that's where the idea came for me for this play.
I know in directing Pam's play, the minute I read the script, I was like, oh my gosh, because this is so me. I ever since I was little, I've had a very vivid imagination. And part of that is actually in my mind, imagining talking to myself, but at different ages. And so the minute I read the script, I was like, I really, really connected with it in that way. And especially right now during the pandemic, where we're all so isolated, lots of times in my head, I'm not only talking to like, wondering like, okay, 10 years from now, like, if I look back at this, what would I have wanted to do? And so you have these, or maybe no one else does this, maybe I'm just a little bit crazy. I have these conversations in my head with myself. And I also have conversations in my head with people I know, and just imagine like, what kind of advice would they give me in this moment? And all these conversations play out in my head. So I love the piece because of that.
And did anyone else want to respond? There is a question on the table from an audience member for Pam, and maybe for Kathy and your actors and those of you who worked on it. Can you unpack a little bit of the poem for us, the map?
The poem actually is a sort of an acrostic from that line of Leonard Shaw, which I saw in YouTube. And I don't know a whole lot about him except from this one YouTube I saw. He works a lot with men in prisons. And he uses that line a lot about how we always have within us this ability to change the quality of our own life. And so the poem begins, each line begins with with the subsequent word in that sentence. And so I laid out those and then, wrote the lines, but the poem part, like putting the poem in there happened fortuitously for me. It showed I'd sort of forgotten about having written it, and then I was reminded of it by a weird little episode with with Leonard Shaw's account getting hacked, his email, and it sort of popped back in my life, and I looked at it and I realized like it had this thing about being terrified and about leaping in it, and I thought, like it kind of connects. So in it went, and it became the map.
I have just a question for the actors and directors, if you want to respond. I know that so often when we're working on a play, we get lost, right? There's that moment a third or halfway through the process where you're like, I'm lost in this script. I'm saying these things, but I don't really know where I am. And then hopefully sometimes you find the hook, whatever the hook is, or you make that discovery, or some actors talk about dropping in. And I'm just curious to know what the process was like for you, and what discoveries came up in rehearsal that surprised you, that allowed you to drop in, that allowed you to connect to the character, to the piece as you were playing around. Anybody wanna?
I can jump in there. I know with our rehearsal process for Olivia's piece Ocean, for the first rehearsal that we had, we only had a couple of rehearsals, but for that first 2-hour chunk of rehearsal that we had, we really just we read the play once or twice together, and from there, all we really did was kind of discuss what was going on in our lives at the moment, and just kind of figure out what it was from our lives that we wanted to talk about in this piece, because we found so much in Olivia's piece that was actually very relatable and very universal to everyone. But we ended up talking about just our 2 actors, Eliza and Marv, they're both freshmen at NYU at the moment. They both just graduated high school, and this is currently their first semester. Eliza moved from Seattle to New York, and doing all of that in the middle of this pandemic. And so we talked about that, and we unpacked a little bit about that, and we unpacked just what's going on in life, and how they're quarantining over there, and what's the difference between quarantining here in Seattle and in New York, and just everything that's been going on. And somehow we always have been able to tie it back into the play in some way, shape, or form. And it was one of those magical gems that just kind of pops up in rehearsal every now and then. And so it really, I know for us, having that time that we just allowed ourselves to just sit down and go, hey, how are you doing? How are you handling this right now? How, what was your week like? Oh, you're able to like go out for a little bit and do your grocery run. Oh, but you also got to stop by in a park. That's great. Getting to steal those little moments for yourself. Because definitely as artists, we need to always be unpacking these things for ourselves and unpacking it with each other. That really helped. That really served to put some gas into this play for us.
Thank you. Kathy, did you? Oh, sorry, I thought you. Yeah.
Yeah, so for our play, I think we were lucky that Agastya and Anuya, they were always there in the rehearsals, but at the same time, they would let us get lost and then find our way ourselves. And there is a joy in that. There is a joy in getting lost and then finding the way yourself. And this is what I experienced. And in every rehearsal, probably we were finding something new about the character. I'm sure the John that Anuya imagined and John which I played might be totally different, but still it worked for her and for Agastya, for me. So nobody was really giving out the map to us and saying, hey, this is how you do it. It is your journey. You do whatever you like. And then even yesterday, even today probably something clicked and I was like, oh, this is how John would say. So that was fun.
Thank you. Yeah, I love the way you put that, the joy of getting lost, that then, because it's in the process of getting lost that it becomes your journey, because you need to find your way through. Well, I think that's a lovely place to end. Thank you all so much, artists, for sharing your stories, for sharing your artistry, for creating something out of nothing. And thank you, audience, however many of you are out there still watching us. Thank you so much. We're so grateful for your presence and participation on this journey. Again, you can find Penguin Productions at penguinproductionsseattle.org. Please go and check us out. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook, and we'd love to stay connected. Until then, until next time, happy trails to all of you. And we will we'll go out and no longer be live.